Okay, time now to go to the money desk with my colleague Devan Murugan. He's our business editor here at eNCA. Devan, very good afternoon to you. Okay, let's focus on one of our top stories now. We've avoided a recession. The economy grew better, slightly better than expected in the third quarter.
Yes, it did. An interesting conversation, Dan, with the analyst Terry Bell there. And he's pointing to things we've said over and over again. There's a particular point that this economy needs to grow, or the rate at which it needs to grow. It is still far out of reach if we want to create those jobs. But there's some good news that came in. We are moving in a positive direction. The economy growing by 1.6% between July and September. Let's pull that up and you'll see. And this is despite the record power cuts. So between July and September, that's the third quarter. You're quite right. We did avoid a recession, as you say, because 1.6% in the third quarter. The quarter before that was a negative. It was a contraction of 0.7%. Had we had 2 quarters of consecutive negative growth, that would be a recession. But be careful. Although that's a positive figure and it's good news there, it does come off a low base. We had a poor performance in the second quarter, hence that number was largely in the positive there. But no doubt, I mean, the economy did grow better than most economists had expected. Let's take a closer look to see what the different sectors of the economy had done. So agriculture up 19%, seems like a good figure, positive, well done there. But the problem is agriculture doesn't contribute as much as some of the other bigger sectors to the overall economy. 8 out of the 10 sectors we normally review are in the positive. Construction 3.1% up, good news, and manufacturing 1.5% up. I mean, this is the sort of sector that you want to look at to create those jobs. The more factories you have up, the more people get employed, but it comes with investment. Let's just move on to the next one, and this is an important figure. You look at all of these numbers and you wonder, well, at the end of the day, what does it really mean? Well, the Reserve Bank says that for 2022 overall, it's forecasting that this economy would grow by 1.8%. And as you said in that interview with Terry Bell a little earlier, that's not going to create jobs for you. If you want to reverse or make a dent in the unemployment rate, even by the NDP plan, by government's own plan, you need a growth rate of 4 to 5% to see the type of job growth that we need and to turn the page on that unemployment figure we saw last week. So here's Kevin Ling's take, chief economist from Standard Bank, on those latest figures.
I think finally we've seen a little bit of life coming back into construction, and that should gain further momentum when we get more investment around the energy sector, particularly the independent power producer program should encourage more investment. So I think that's an area that looks a bit more encouraging. And then the other area is the tourism industry. Now, tourism was, certainly foreign tourism was decimated with the COVID crisis, but the data has been getting systematically quite a bit better, and we've seen that in the latest GDP data. So there are some areas that are perhaps a bit more encouraging, but overall, we're still locked into a growth rate of around about the 1.5% to 2%. Next year, probably a little bit below that. We're not able to do enough to lift that growth rate really meaningfully, where we're growing at 4, 5, or 6% and making a real difference to people's livelihoods. In order to get that growth, we need a lot more fixed investment, a lot more infrastructure upgrades, and generally a lot more confidence.
Clearly, there's a lot of hard work there, Devan, according to Mr. Links, that to be done to grow the economy at those levels that would create more jobs. But now I see fuel price-wise, December is here. It's a mixed bag this month, but there is some relief, Devan, if you're driving a diesel car.
Yeah, some relief. Come Wednesday next week, let's start with petrol. 93 and 95 unleaded petrol will rise by 59 cents. So that's not good news because it will simply make your holiday travel a bit more expensive. Let's just take a look and to see how interesting it is when you look at what happened with petrol over the last year. By the way, just before we continue, you know, many people, according to surveys, saying they're actually holding back when it comes to the holiday season because of the cost of petrol. All right, so December last year, this time last year, your 95 petrol price in Gauteng, by the way, sitting at 20 Rand 29 cents. And then 2022 was really about this escalating prices we paid for fuel. So July 2022 this year, you have the 95 petrol in Gauteng sitting at 26 Rand 74 cents, the highest it's ever been. As we approach the holiday season, we are told today that the price of 95 petrol in Gauteng this December, 23 Rand 46 cents. Still a bit of a pinch, but let's turn the tables, look and see what's happening with diesel over the last year. A bit of a different picture, but again, you know, overall we're still seeing an increase in fuel costs. Last year, this time, the price of diesel was 17 Rand 93 cents. And you got to October, that's when diesel reached a peak, 25 Rand 49 cents. And if you're going down with your SUV this December, again, bit of a drop, so good news there, about 1 Rand 52 to 1 Rand 57 cents a litre dropping, but it's still sitting at 23 Rand 92 cents. That's the outlook for what's happening with fuel at the moment. Okay.